game here. White is just down a pawn, and there are going to be some massive exchanges here, meaning that it'll be an endgame, and I should have great chances to win. So Arjun takes, I trade the queens, I take the knight, rook d3, and now I go for the move knight to c5. Get rook to e3, king to f7, and now Arjun plays the move b4. Now here I am up one pawn, I have 6 pawns, white has 5 pawns, but it's a very tricky situation. Now my initial thought was maybe I could take, but after knight a4, rook to a3, b5, and knight takes c6, the knight guards the pawn on b4, and if I go a6 and white gets rook d3, suddenly white is infiltrating, and with the lack of development here on the king side, maybe white can even be better. So then I thought, why not knight a6? Now this is the best move, and I will say straight up, this is the move that if I look at this entire game, if I'm going to be unhappy, this is the one moment that I should be unhappy about, because after b5, knight b4, king b3, and takes, I think white takes with the knight here, I can simply go knight to c6, and apparently I'm just winning. Now, I think I saw some version of this with knight c6, but I assumed after something like bishop d6, white would be getting the pieces in here. But after the move knight to d4, knight takes bishop d6. If white goes knight f5, I have bishop to e5 here, creating the classic wooden shield. And now I will kick the knight on the next turn, and I should win the game. So, if there's anything I want to be unhappy about, it's this moment. But I thought, I'm not sure if knight a6 is working. Why not go back to d7? Because I'm still only 2 moves away from bringing the bishop and the rook into the game and winning. But after knight d7, Arjun plays rook d3. I have to move the horse. If I play bishop takes b4, there's knight takes c6, and white attacks the knight and the bishop at the same time. And now, if anything, white is probably better. So I move the knight away to avoid these tricks with the rook attacking the knight. Arjun goes king b3, and now I play the move a6. Arjun goes e4 here, trying to stop knight to d5. Worth pointing out that Arjun probably should have played the move a5, and after knight d5, bishop d2, with this idea of e4 and the activity on this d file, white is actually not even worse. But Arjun instead goes e4, trying to stop knight d5. I play bishop e7, we get knight f5, g6, and here Arjun plays the move a5. Now at this moment, I have 12 minutes and 50 seconds versus 4:57. We are still 8 moves away from move number 40. This is only move 32, but this is the last critical moment of the game. Now, with no increment until move 40, it's very tricky here because you don't want to get too low on time, but this is also the moment that I have to make a big decision. Do I take this knight on f5 here, or do I play something like knight to c8? Now, initially, I thought I should play knight to c8, but after takes e5, takes, let's just say rook to e8, and bishop f4, I have this very, very bad knight that can't really get into the game easily, and white has all kinds of checks with the bishop and the rook, and so white should be able to draw. So then I thought, okay, well, I have to take the knight, he takes back, and this is the moment where I have to play either the move rook to d8 or the move pawn takes pawn. Now, I know because my second told me this after the game, apparently even on a supercomputer, it takes 5 seconds before it realizes that this move f takes e4 is in fact winning for black. It's not that obvious, and as I'm getting low on time here, I decide to go for a different endgame where I know there is 0 risk and it's a complete 50-50. Either I'm completely winning or it's a dead draw, but there's no risk, and so I thought, conceptually, let's go for that endgame. Now, the winning line here would have been to play the move pawn takes pawn, and after rook to d7, creating the kebab here, I have rook d8, sacking the pawn on b7, and now the very nice move pawn to e3, because if white takes the pawn, I have check, king c2 takes, and actually one line that I kind of saw some shades of, I didn't calculate this all the way through, but one of the lines that I saw some shades of the boogeyman was something like b5 takes and a move like rook c7, and suddenly the p is getting through. Now, even this doesn't work because I can take the pawn and go rook g8, rook c8, and bishop d6 to stop the pawn from queening, but frankly, with 5 minutes on the clock and no increment, this is a very, very dangerous moment, and going for this simply felt a little bit too unrealistic. Now, on top of that, after the move e3, there's also another line with king c2, e2, bishop d2, and now after the move king to e6, white goes rook c7, bishop d6, takes, and another very important move, king d7, and after white goes rook c3, there's the move rook c8, and this bishop and pawn endgame is going to be winning after bishop to e1, because I can simply